So I was a little surprised there during the weigh-ins. You don't see Chuck Congo act like that very often. He's usually a pretty composed guy, doesn't kind of talk trash or anything. Were you surprised to see what happened there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was out of character for him. I just think this is a big fight. And, we've been talking to his manager and his trainer for the last, since he was kind of left out of the tournament, cleaning off a couple losses or, just early on we decided that he was going to be, reserve until after the tournament. This is his big fight. I think he wants to prove to everybody that he should have been in the tournament and he should have fought for the belt last January. But this is a big opportunity for him, and I think he's a little nervous, to be honest with you. And that's what you saw out there was that reaction, because I've never seen that before.
Kind of underscores the importance of this fight for him. He's 44 years old.
Right.
He may have thought that, a few years ago, people kind of counted him out. He's gone on a great run. Is it fair to say that maybe the pressure is getting to him?
Yeah, absolutely. Think about this. When I talked to his corners and his trainers, let's say a year ago, I said, look, this guy is one of the greatest strikers in MMA, especially in the heavyweight division. You got to open it up. Then he started doing that. He started throwing combinations again. He started, letting his hands go. Started stopping people. So I think his style has changed back to what he was, 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So he's always in great shape, as you can see. He's going to bring it, and it's going to be really interesting because there's a pressure going to get to him. Bader looks very relaxed to me, like another day at the park, let's say. But Czech looks a little bit nervous to me, but let's see what happens. I mean, you guys have a lot of fights, seasoned veteran. I think he's been training really hard, and the coach said, hey, don't worry, he's going to be fine.
So biggest news this week, aside from Bellator 226, was obviously Cris Cyborg signing with Bellator. Mm-hmm. And she said in another interview that came out today that you guys had a conversation about Cyborg still wants to fight Amanda Nunes somewhere down the road.
No, I didn't hear that, but listen, if she's a free agent, let's do it. Listen, if you're not a free agent and they want to do it, we'll do it. So anytime, let's get it on if they want to do it. I don't think it's in their business model to do a promotion like that, but we would do it in a second.
If Cyborg asked you to go to the UFC and even ask, would you do it just out of respect to Cyborg? Or?
I mean, we would definitely communicate it, but I think I know the answer to that. They just it's not their business model to do it, right? They run their business a certain way. But if UFC wanted to put Amanda Nunes, we would put Cyborg up in a second.
Now it's, I don't know if ironic's the word, but we just passed the 10th anniversary of Cyborg's fight with Gina Carano in this building, in this building, which was just one of the most monumental nights in MMA history. Any thoughts looking back on that? Like, did you know that this was going to be as big of a deal as it was and as big as a historical deal?
When you look, I mean, at that time, you don't realize it because you're just in the mix of making it happen. But the one thing I did realize back then was when Showtime said, yes, we'll take this fight as the main event. It was the first female mixed martial arts main event ever in the history of United States television or cable, whatever. It was historic in that sense, like this is the first one. And when Showtime put their stamp on it saying, we accept this fight as a main event, these two females, then I knew that it was going to be a hit.
And I mean, you're a student of the fight game. You appreciate the history of the game. What's it mean to have Cyborg back after all these years and to chase after basically a fourth world championship?
Oh man, it's an honor to promote her, and we promoted her early on and saw her grow, just to the height. And she is the GOAT. I kid you not, she is the greatest female fighter of all time. There's other personalities involved. I mean, Ronda had a great run. She's doing great in WWE. Gina's doing fantastic, doing I think it's the Star Wars episodes. But when you talk about the fighter, like the greatest fighter in the female division of all time, it's Cyborg, hands down.
So I have to ask, because I saw you tweet about this, the whole Logan Paul and KSI and Dylan Dennis.
Hey, I will be ringside. I will be ringside. Like, listen, if I'm in LA and I'm there, I'm gonna go and check it out. Why not? This will be a lot of fun.
But a lot of people would kind of look down on a fight like that and say, well, this isn't a serious fight, or they aren't real pros, or something along those lines. But I feel like you kind of have an appreciation for kind of out of the way, or one-off, or a little bit of things that are different. Like, what do you think as a promoter when you see something like this?
Well, listen, it's to step into the ring and do what they do, you got to have some respect for that, right? Is it the greatest fight of all time? Come on, I think we know the answer to that. But it'll be entertaining, and it's going to be on DAZN. We're going to go support our TV partners, and it'll be at Staples Center, not too far from here. So, you know, I'm going to grab Dylan. We're going to go down there and check it out. So,
any updates for Dylan? It seems like he should be due for a new fight sometime
yeah,
soon.
I think he's going to fight sometime either in October or November. I think we're talking to him right now about some opponents, things like that. So hopefully we'll have something soon to announce.
Sure. Frank Mir, he's going to be fighting Roy Nelson. He came out on a podcast recently. He made it pretty clear that it sounds like he's not super enthused about this fight. Did you hear those comments? And what do you think about
I heard that he wasn't happy about the fight, but this is, you know, I talked to my guys about it, and I said, what happened? I thought, you know, he wanted to fight, and I looked at all the texts, and they're like, thumbs up, you know, from Frank. So thumbs up to me means he wants to do it. So we put the fight together. But, you know, like I said to Frank is, look, he agreed to the fight. Get ready. Roy's going to come throwing some heavy blows. Keep your hands up. Work on your submission. Take him down, submission defense or whatever. Like, get ready for a fight because Roy Nelson's going to bring it.
So, you know, what's the appeal of the fight to you then? Is this a potential title eliminator, or how, you know, you guys put it together? So
yeah.
if Frank's saying...
I mean, really, it's a fight that both those guys, you know, coming off a defeat, actually, to say, okay, you know, which one's going to be able to turn it around, right? That, to me, this is that fight for them in their career. And, you know, let's face it, this is the time where they got to deliver. And I think it might be the winner goes forward, the loser goes home, maybe, you know?
Sure. Aaron Pico, the last time you kind of talked to the media, you said you were going to be talking to him soon, and we saw Aaron tweet a photo of you guys after you did talk. Is there anything you can share about where Aaron's head is at, how you feel about how he's kind of handling his recent setbacks and anything else?
Yeah, I think he's in a really good place right now. He's in a really good camp. He feels very comfortable there, living in New Mexico, training with Jacksons. He's got a new manager. We had a good conversation. I think he's at a good place. Much better than he was before, and you know, we were talking about when he could fight, and we said we'll get back, you know, circle back, but maybe something in December or January we'll have him maybe compete again. But I think he's in a much better place now than he was, let's say, 6 months ago or 8 months ago, or you know, having not having one dedicated camp, kind of just jumping around.
Sure.
And now he's like living there. He brought his horses there, his girlfriend's there, his you know, and there's no distractions from any outside, you know, influence. It's just him and the trainer, and that's his, well, because he himself wants to be, you know, on top, and he knows he's got a ways to go to get there. But I tell you, don't count this kid out. This kid has a lot of determination and has dedicated his whole life to combat sports, whether it was wrestling or fighting in mixed martial arts or pancrase before or boxing. It's he's dedicated to taking this journey and taking it as far as he can. So we're looking forward to see how far he can take it, and he'll be back in January or December or something like that.
And you know, you had talked a bit about almost kind of like pumping the brakes a bit in terms of competition for him. Is that still where you are, or is he back to being like wanting to take on the best guys possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be his attitude, of course, because that's how fighters think, right? But it's up to the manager and our team to maybe calm everybody down on, you know, on fighting some of the killers in that weight class, and maybe fighting some journeymen, and then, you know, continue on from there. But, you know, Aaron Pico would like to fight the best guys in the world right now, because he feels he's one of the best. And if you look at the fights that he lost, the first one, you know, his experience, Madison Square Garden was a big spotlight, but the last two that he lost, I mean, you could say he was winning those fights until he got caught, right? So, you know, I think it was transitioning into different camps and different styles and where he's living. There's a lot of factors into a fighter feeling comfortable stepping into the cage. I think you'll see a very comfortable Aaron Pico come the fall.
The final question, anything new with the Lima? Does he have a next fight lined up?
We don't have an opponent, but, you know, of course, we will be back in Hawaii sometime in December, and we will target that date for her to fight. We'll have something soon to announce on that, because we'll tie it into the USO and the give back to the troops, so the troops kind of give back that we do on Paramount. So it's going to be a big weekend for the fighters, but also as a company giving back to the military, and then having the two fights there in Honolulu.
Sure.